with no further ado, I'm gonna hand over to Warren, where we're going out of 25 with a bang, because he's been trying to book Warren for a while now, and we were delighted when he agreed to do this guest speaker spot for us. And I think it feels more special just before Christmas. So thank you very much, Warren. Are you okay if we take questions as we go through, or would you rather wait to the end?
I think let's wait to the end, because I might cover some of the things that people might ask.
Perfect. That's great. Over to you then.
Thanks very much. I'm just going to share my screen, which hopefully should be sharing. If someone could just give a thumbs up. Super. Thanks, Spencer. So good morning, everyone. Thank you to Ollie and Lee for inviting me to come along and share some thoughts. As Ollie says, my name's Warren Ralls. I'm one of the managing directors at British Business Bank. My role at the bank was to oversee our regional network team, where there is someone based in each of the 9 English regions and the 3 devolved nations. Essentially, they're to share information about the bank and to help the bank better understand the issues that are facing small businesses in different parts of the UK. We also work with local partners on activity to help small businesses be better aware of the variety of finance options available. So hopefully they are better informed and able to go on and secure finance. But I'll come back to that a little later. So my plan today is to share with you who the bank is, why it was originally established, how the bank supports early stage and scaling founders, what's on the horizon for 26, and how founders could best prepare for the changing funding and economic landscape. And I've got a whole lot of slides here because the bank loves a slide. And I think it's quite helpful to just show a few things and give a bit of a voiceover. All this information is on our website if you want to go and find it later. So, British Business Bank, let's start there. The British Business Bank is the UK's economic development bank. We are here to help break down barriers for access to finance for businesses across the UK. And our mission is to drive sustainable growth and prosperity, to enable the transition to net zero economy by improving access to finance for smaller businesses. British Business Bank, or BBB as we usually refer to, we're government owned, but we're independently managed by a private sector chair and board. We were set up in 2014 by Sir Vince Cable and the coalition government. And we have a single shareholder who's the business secretary of the day, and that's currently the Right Honourable Peter Kyle MP. We invest funds in small businesses through over 200 external fund managers, lenders, investors, and delivery partners. We do not lend directly to small businesses. We are a wholesaler of finance. We invest through the 200 external funders. We're not regulated, so that means we're not able to give advice. We can't recommend or introduce. Founders need to approach the funder directly with their requests, and those delivery partners will have their own processes that founders will need to follow. So we delegate the decision-making to those delivery partners for them to lend and invest against their own credit terms and conditions. And I've got a little slide here to just show a few examples of some of those delivery partners. There's not 200 on that, but I reckon there's probably a number there that you haven't come across before and may not be that familiar to you. And that's a good thing, because that's why we're here. We're here to bring in more choice, more options into the lending market. We're not the only economic development bank. We're the most recently formed. The first one was in Canada in 1944, and there's a development bank in Germany, Italy, the States, France, and Japan. Our impact, this is as at the end of March 25, the last financial year. We've supported over £23 billion of finance to almost 64,000 small businesses through those 200 plus delivery partners delivering our programs. So that's a little bit about the bank. I'm just going to briefly go through some of our programs that may be of interest to you. And these are essentially grouped into 2 areas. One is banking and one is investment. On the banking side, essentially this covers our debt loans. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with what debt is. If you're not, it's essentially where a business borrows money from a loan provider, then pays it back with interest over a defined and fixed period of time known as the term. And some examples are asset financing, where a funder provides finance to a business who is purchasing assets, or asset refinancing, where a business borrows money against existing assets, using those assets as collateral. Invoice finance, where a company uses unpaid invoices as collateral to obtain finance. And factoring, where a business sells its unpaid invoices to a third party. And of course, overdrafts, where a business agrees a formal borrowing limit on their main business current account, which is then able to go into debt. So some of our programs on this slide here, you'll see there's a kind of escalator from left to right, where they programs aimed at sort of new startups, higher risk on the left, reducing in risk as you go towards the right, and the value of investment on the left-hand scale, going up from startups to more established. So I'll go through these very quickly, and I want to come back to one or two of them as well. The first one is the Startup Loans Program. I'm not sure if that's of interest to colleagues on the call, but I've got another slide on that, so I'll just brush over that. We have two Enable programs. One is for smaller loans over 25,000, delivered by community development finance institutes, and then on the right-hand side, larger Enable programs helping lenders grow their lending books. And in the middle, there's a growth guarantee scheme, which effectively replaced the recovery loan scheme, which was brought in during COVID. And that is to support lenders as they lend facility sizes of up to £2 million, providing that lender with a 70% government-backed guarantee to try and improve the terms that they offer to business and try and de-risk some of their investments, aiming for them to lend a little bit more. I said I'd say a bit more about startup loans. So these are government-backed loans helping people who are starting their own business or who have been trading for less than 3 years. So although it's called startup loans, is actually about the first 3 years of a business trading. Loans are from £500 to 25,000, and it's per director, and there is a maximum of 4 directors that can be loaned to. So if there are 4 directors in the company, each can get a maximum of 25,000. That's 100,000 for the company. You may ask, why on earth would someone go for a £500 loan? Well, it comes with free mentoring, which is incredibly valuable for a startup business. It's a 6% fixed interest rate, which is very competitive at the moment. And there are other things that are available to the startup business, such as the learning courses available through the Open University. Those who paid off their first loan may be eligible for a second loan, all within the maximum of 25,000, providing they've been trading for less than 5 years and meet other criteria. Moving on to the investment side of the business, this effectively is our equity programs. I'm sure everyone on the call is familiar with equity, but if you're not, it's where a company raises money to grow their business by offering a share of the business to an investor in exchange for financial investment. In some cases, investors become joint owners, entitled to a share of profits and assets, and can have a say in the company's key decisions. Some of our investment programs, a similar slide to the debt one, where you've got early stage on the left, moving up to more growth stage, value of investment increasing as you move through the scale. On the left-hand side, we've got our Regional Angels program, and that is a co-investment program that invests alongside groups of angels. Typical rounds of investment are between £5 to £15 million, £15 million, with angel groups. The angel program is focused on investments made in areas of the UK that are underserved by angel capital, typically outside London and the Southeast. The angel groups that are invested with are angels that have a track record of working together. They have a formal and commercial agreement. They've done deals and have a good pipeline of potentially investable deals coming through. Then moving on into the venture and growth space, we have our Enterprise Capital Fund program, Nations and Regions Investment Fund. I'll come back to that in a second, because I think that might also be of interest to colleagues on the call. some direct investments into fintech, and these are quite larger ticket sizes, 20 million pounds and above. And then our more sort of growth stage, patient capital, life sciences, future funds, R&D intensive companies in the longer term, higher investment side of things. I said I mentioned the Nations and Regions Investment Fund. So there are 6 programs currently in operation. They total 1.6 billion pounds across the whole of the UK, except for, you'll see on the bottom right there, East of England, London, South East are greyed out. Currently, they don't have programs operating there. These programs actually cover both equity and a bit of debt as well. And they are focused in the areas where there isn't as much availability of funding, and to try and get delivery partners who are located in London, particularly, to be investing in other parts of the UK. A little bit about looking into 2026. From springtime, 2 new funds will be added to that list. There will actually now be a fund for the South East, and there will be a fund for the East of England. They've been worked on. Delivery partners are being engaged. There's a whole process going through. So you can actually go onto our website and register to receive email updates on when they will go live and what their various availabilities will be in terms of funding. And as I say, it's from spring 2026. So let me go into the third bit, which is around looking into next year and a little bit more information. Ollie and Lee asked me to give a few thoughts on market conditions. So I did a little bit of digging into various reports, and there are certainly challenges reported by external bodies. The ONS reports UK economy contracted for the 2nd consecutive month. British Chamber of Commerce forecasts subdued economic growth following the budget. An IOD survey showed business confidence remained low after the budget. And a Bank of England report indicates that risks to financial stability have increased during 2025. So, sounds very negative. There are some positive sentiments around the Bank of England report. Gross banking lending to small businesses did fall in October, but overall has risen in 2025. And the OECD has upgraded its UK economic growth forecast for 2026. And interesting to see yesterday that the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee reduced the base rate by 0.25% to 3.75, which is the lowest rate in nearly 2 years. And if you look back to January, the rate was actually at 4.75%. So it's come down a whole percent in a year. Bank of England are projecting to inflation should hit around about 2% by April. And if you recall, that's a target set by government for the Consumer Prices Index to be around 2%. It was at 3.2% in the 12 months to November, which actually is down from 3.6%. So are there likely to be more cuts in 2026 from the base rate? That seems to be the mood music coming out of the Bank of England, but unconfirmed yet. And I'd be interested to know where you all feel you sit on that curve. Are you feeling positive? And perhaps we can come back to that in the conversation. Whatever you're facing, my encouragement is not to give up with your finance journey. There are options if you get a no. And there are places where you can go to see if those options could work for you. So I've got a bit of information here just to wrap up with, Ollie, and then we can take questions and come back to any of the slides that colleagues wanted to have a look at. The first is our business guidance library. This is something we call our finance hub. It's built a number of articles for businesses to go and have a look at, from creating a business plan to what is equity finance or what is mezzanine finance. I don't understand all of those terms. Help me. And so there are 276 articles in the library, as I say, covering all sorts of access to finance, but other related areas like staffing, sustainability. And this information has been developed with experts and organizations like Companies House, UK Export Finance, etc., etc. And what I'll do at the end in the chat is I'll just pop a couple of links into the chat if colleagues want to go and actually find this information directly. We've also produced a guide, Making Business Finance Work for You, and it highlights the 9 most common challenges a business might face and the types of finance that could help a business meet those challenges and move the business forward. There's a QR code there, which you can go and through your camera app take you directly. But again, I'll put a link in the chat at the end for you to find. And then we have our Finance Finder, which is an online tool with a set of 8 easy questions. It's about the business, it's about what kind of money you're looking for, the amount, to do what, where you're based, and that all helps to try and help you navigate into the options of finance, and then from those options, which of our 200 delivery partners are best suited to have a conversation with you, for you to follow that through. We know that accessing the bank programs is perhaps easier done through this way than phoning up a delivery partner and saying, oh, I see you've got an Enable guarantee program. How can I access some of that? So this is a really easy business facing way of accessing information. And then recently this year, government produced a business gov website. It's brand new. It's about 4 or 5 months old now, I think. And I think it's really, really good. There's a lot of information on there. Again, I'll pop a link in the chat from starting to growing your business. And the thing I found most interesting is you can put your postcode in there and it tells you what's available close to you that you may want to go explore. And there's lots of options, which I'll come back to in a second. And there's also the National Business Support Service with a helpline number. And this is government funded, is run by an organization called UMI, UMI. I'll put the link in the chat, as I say. And they have a team of advisors that you can speak to over the phone, which some colleagues may find easier to do than following through all the web support. And then I just put a bit of a brain dump down on this slide of various things from accountants. Founders, if they don't have, strongly advise getting an accountant, because whoever you're going to for finance will want to see a set of financial papers. And a good place to go and start is the ICAEW. Brokers are always really useful. The National Association of Commercial Finance Brokers, NACFB, have a good list. Banks often run sessions. They have incubator programs, accelerator programs, worth checking those out. Local growth hubs in England, they offer grants, as do organizations like Innovate UK. And then we've got things like UK Export Academy, UK Business Angels Association. If you're not familiar with angel groups in your area, they're really good in finding out more information. There's the UK Crowdfunding Association website, and BVCA on private equity and venture capital. And I'm sure everyone is familiar with FSB and the organization who looks after community development finance institutes is Responsible Finance. So there's a whole lot of information. I'll stop sharing. If you give me a second, I'll copy and paste some links into the chat and give you a chance to think about some questions. That's it from me, Ollie.
Thank you very much, Warren. I have some questions, but I don't want to go first because I want to open it up to the floor. Is there any questions for Warren this morning? Thinking about next year and how the British Business Bank can help founders. Andre.
Good morning, Ollie. How are you? Warren, thank you very much for that. That's really, really interesting. I think probably, as a lot of people on this call, they're all on a funding path. They've all got their various businesses. The difficult thing for us is we're now going through various different funding, looking at various funding routes. And as you well know, there's so much information out there. There's so many investors out there, and we spend so much time in approaching various people. We don't know whether they're the good ones. We don't know whether they're the bad ones. And you know, and at the same time, we've got to run our businesses.
Wow.
Personally, for me, what I'm looking for is a route to where I can either get debt, whether I can get equity. Um, but I also, the important thing for me is I need to try and establish um, who is the best partner for me at the
Mhm.
stage that I'm at. So a very prime example, we built a prop tech platform. We've been building it, you know, we've had a beta version 1 and 2. We've literally just gone live yesterday into the App Store and into Google Play with our platform. Um, I've been in the property industry for over 25 years, so I understand the industry. And the key now for us is I funded most of this myself with my own money. So I've got it to development stage, I've got it to build stage, I've got it to live stage. Yes, I've taken some investment from outside parties, but those are people that I know. Haven't taken a lot of money, so I still own huge amount of my business. The difficult thing for us is we are not at monetizing stage yet. Um, but the signs of it making, you know, good amounts of money are very big. You know, we've got over 3,500 pre-registered users already on the platform. We've got 5,000 from our beta users. So we know that we've got something really big on our hands, and it's a global platform as well. So what I'm basically asking is I'm trying to understand what the best route is for me to get funding, because I know I can't get debt because I need income. I know trying to get equity is equally important when you don't have an income generating product. So I need someone who's going to sort of see that vision and say, right, okay, you've got all your financials, you've got all your decks, you've got absolutely everything that will tick every single box. You've got your pre-registered users, you've got a platform that's live, you've spent all of this money. All right. Where do I go now? Because I don't have the time to speak to, you know, all of these people who give you
Yeah.
all of the great, all of the spiel, and you're wasting 3 months of your time.
Yeah. Andre, thank you for sharing that, and sounds really exciting. I always ask businesses, who does the finance in your business as a pre-revenue, early stage business? You're probably doing it all yourself, would be my guess.
Yeah,
So, getting that financial advice, I think, is really important. I'm assuming you have an accountant. If
I
not,
do.
a good place
And
to
I have a
start.
CFO as well. So
Very
that,
good. And a place to also investigate. I would certainly say go and have a look at our finance finder. There's only 8 questions. It'll take you, 10,
yeah,
15 minutes. Just might give you some ideas, Andre. And that's the point about what we're here to do, is to give information so you're better informed, to show that there are options. Um, a broker is also a good option to have a conversation with as well. And you probably don't know who a local broker might be. Go to the National Association of Commercial Finance Brokers. You can just Google, and they pop up, and they have a list of accredited brokers who may be close to you. You can just have a chat. There's no cost at that stage. See what they can do for you. It does sound like equity is probably the best first route. It probably sounds like angel investment might be something for you to explore.
yeah.
But check out what angel groups are operating in your place, and whether they can give you an opportunity to pitch to some of their angel investors, just to get you through that first stage.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thanks, Andre.
Thanks.
Thank you.
That's
Good
really
luck,
kind.
Andre.
Thanks very much. Very kind.
Mike, I think you wanted to ask a question as well this morning.
Thanks, Ollie. Yeah, I did. It's kind of similar, and thanks for coming on, Warren. Thanks for your time, because I've applied a couple of times to the British Business Bank, but each time, because we're either pre-revenue or we don't have a full year's worth of accounts, it just never went anywhere. So we applied for the startup loan. I've done that several times, and I've kind of found that a bit of a dead end. So my engagement with the British Business Bank just kind of stopped there because there doesn't seem to be a kind of natural continuation from that point, if you like. It's not like it says, okay, right, you're not there yet, but here's solutions for you. So I guess my question was similar as to how can I make the most out of the opportunity that the British Business Bank offer? Because there are, to your point, there are lots of options, lots of different links, lots of things that you can connect to, but it's sometimes hard to perhaps navigate that and find what's right for us. So my question was, I guess, very similar to Andre's, is what would be your suggested route? But I've already made note of your finance finder and the business support helpline, which I think would be two good routes.
So I'm a bit old-fashioned, Mike. I like to talk to people, and I think phoning the business support helpline and just talk to an individual on that helpline. It's an expensive resource, so there isn't much of it available, unfortunately. 20 years ago, there was a lot of paid advice that you could go for and get for free. But that's a really good place to start, as the business support helpline. Also, have a look at I'm just going back on my slides, the business.gov.uk, because that will take you to locals. Maybe grants is a better place for you to start to get you onto that sort of early trading stage, and then to come back to British Business Bank once you've got a bit of a record. Because one of the criteria for a startup loan is they may ask to see, are you trading at the moment? And that's a sort of dichotomy, isn't it, for you? So local authorities at a county level have have grants available. Have you tried that route, Mike?
Yeah, so I was part of the Innovate UK's investability program, so I've gone through that route with
This is
Innovate.
different. This is different. This
Yeah,
is
I found it really hard to find stuff in the southeast. I think, to your point, a lot of it tends to point towards other areas within the
Yeah,
UK.
yeah. Whereabouts are
I,
you in the southeast?
I'm just outside Brighton.
Okay, what's that? Sussex.
Yeah.
So, my guess would be the Sussex Growth Hub, which you can find who they are through the business.gov.uk website. Type in your postcode and up will come their details. Go onto their website. I know I live in Worcester, so in Worcestershire there's a Enterprise Worcestershire program, and they have grants available. I'm pretty sure Sussex will have something. It may not be much, Mike, but it might just be enough to kind of get you going.
We're specifically focused on the world of work. So what
Okay.
we're building, I think, obviously, I think it's a game changer. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. But it's all about how can we get people into work or education quicker than anything else. Is there anything specific to that springs to mind that you think might be worth looking at?
That's an interesting one. I don't know. This is just a wild card idea, but go and have a look at the Department for Education's website.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know if they've got any programs where they're looking for things that are new and, able to address the world of work challenges.
yeah.
I don't know, Mike. It might be a little bit of a red herring, but go and have a look.
Yeah, there's a few ministers that I've already started approaching, but to win their kind of, if you want to tender for those kind of business, again, you need to prove that you're a sustainable company and therefore have, that kind of runway a lot of
Yeah.
the time. But no, it's a good shout. I've won a lot of money from the DFE in previous roles, so yeah,
Good.
good
So you've
shout.
got that experience. Have a look at the Sussex Growth Hub. I'm sure they'll have
Will do.
at least somebody that you can talk to who might be able to point you into a local area of direction.
Thanks, Warren. Will do.
Good luck, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Spencer.
Yeah, good morning. Warren, that's really interesting. Thanks for talking to us today. I'm not looking for finance for my business, but lots of my clients, I'm looking for finance for lots of my clients. The growth guarantee scheme, recovery loan scheme, all those things I've used before, generally through the sort of the major algorithmic lenders like Funding Circle and that sort of thing. Just wanted to ask, Do you have a fixed sort of rate that you charge to those lenders for each of these schemes, or is it risk based? And how much influence do you have over what they actually pitch the rates and fees? Because they seem quite negotiable, and you never seem to quite achieve the sort of the headline rates that you think you should be able to achieve.
Thanks, Spencer. Great question. And there's a bit of detail in the wiring, which I'm probably not that close enough to know around what rates we engage those lenders on. What we do, so we don't tell them who to lend to, and we don't tell them what rates. It's pretty much it's their choice, and they make their lending against what they believe is the right percentage and the right criteria. That's the kind of it's just the way we were set up, Spencer. So we don't do that. But what we do encourage is to have feedback if we hear information externally, which basically comes through my team, where there may be lending rates that are quite a lot higher than one would expect. And having that information is really useful because we use that to then have conversations with lenders to just say, okay, tell us what's going on. The interest rate thing is really quite an interesting conversation because when I chat to businesses and they talk about interest rates, sometimes in the high 20s, my question is always, what will that money do to grow your business? So if it will grow your business by 100%, then 20s on an interest rate may not be that bad. And I don't think a lot of businesses know that. I'm not defending the high interest rates. I'm just saying it's kind of an interesting place to be. So I think, Spencer, if you pick up any information that you wanting to drop me a note on, please do so. Ollie and Lee got my details, and I can feed that in internally. But we don't set a sort of a base rate for everyone.
No.
Conversation that is had with each lender.
So you've still then really got to potentially look across those 200 lenders to see who is offering the best version of the growth guarantee scheme, for example.
Not all of them will be on the GGS, but
No.
you're right. And
Yeah.
that's why the Finance Finder tool helps to kind of bring that 200 group down into more of a manageable, but it's still a big group. I completely get it. And I think chatting to an advisor, a broker, is another. I'm not sure, Spence, if that's your business, so apologies if that
No,
if it is, but they are good at what they do and can also help to find deals that maybe aren't that easy to come across.
Yeah. Okay. So brokers are probably still a good way forward.
I would look at the list that's on the NACFB because
Yeah.
they will have ones that are members, ones that are accredited with them, and so you're going to somebody who you can work with. I'm not saying other brokers who aren't their members, but I have to be careful what I say here, Spencer. We're meant to navigate an impartial line.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks very much.
No problem, Spencer.
Thanks, Spencer. Aruvu, you got a question?
Yes, sorry. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much, Warren. Thank you for having me, Ollie. Yes, my question is possibly two. So I've got a blueprint. So that's how I'm trying to raise funds right now for it, Warren, in regards to people who want to protect their assets and create generational wealth. How would you say is the best way to go about that? I am very active on LinkedIn. I am approaching business owners, heads of households, i.e. fathers, mothers who want to who this may interest. And I'm looking for positive responses. I'm not getting too much of a positive response when it comes to getting people to pay for it, even though I have presented a summary of it, what it's about and so forth. How would you suggest I go about it?
So thanks for the questions, Aruva. I would suggest you look for local networks to engage in. It's all about promotion, isn't it, at the end of the day? And people relationships is really important. I think there's a lot of events that happen through chambers of commerce, particularly FSB, local growth hubs. And if you go onto the business.gov.uk website, you can type in your postcode, see what's happening or what organizations are operating in your area. Go and have a look at their websites and see what events may be coming up. And just a really sort of, this may be too simple, so apologies, but I often, if I'm looking for engaging with new networks, I just go onto Eventbrite and I type in a couple of things, and it's amazing. Well, it's amazing what pops up. So that might be something else to look at. What else can I think of? I know where as I said earlier, I live in Worcester. They have an annual business sort of expo, and you may want to get a stand. I think they were a couple of £100, so it's not cheap, but it's not very, very expensive. And the one that I went to, there was a good 1,000 people coming through the door, and chance for you to basically just promote what you do. Those are a few ideas off the top of my head. I'm sure others will have better ones than I've just shared with you.
Thank you very, very much. Any final questions this morning for Warren? Anything at all? I know a few of you are considering funding rounds next year or looking into it in more detail, and the various options open to founders. Neil.
Sorry, take my one off me there. Thanks very much, Warren. A brilliant talk. I'm kind of asking a question not directly about myself. I'm involved with an organisation called the Thames Valley AI Hub, which is supported by the Henley Business School and University of Reading. We're working with Redder and a few other businesses to create tech innovation hubs, and specifically around AI, and trying to make Reading and the Thames Valley, a centre for that technology within the UK and hopefully globally. I'm not on the financial side of that at all. My part is strategy and ideas and creativity and etc. But I was just wondering if that was the kind of area that the British Business Bank would have some input, some capabilities to kind of add value to.
Really interesting question. So in the budget earlier in the year, and this is sort of buried in the detail, you might not have spotted it, but the government is asking the bank to look at areas of high growth and innovation. And I would encourage you just to go onto our website and sign up for regular updates, because we're working on a program that's coming later in 2026 around centers of innovation, clusters and geographical locations. I'm not sure Reading is one of those, but it's an interesting area to just be kept aware of. And from that may spark some ideas for conversations. I think that there's someone, I mentioned earlier that the team that I was responsible for has someone based in each area, and there's someone who is in the Southeast, and their role obviously is around partnerships. So as you develop your hubs, making them aware, and you can find their details on our website, who that local person may be. Her name is Sue Elliott is her name. Okay. And yeah, it might be worth a conversation. I'm just trying to think. There was something else that popped into my mind. I mean, the whole Thames Valley is very interesting with the new film studios that are being built along the M4. So there's quite a lot going on there. I'm guessing you've had a conversation with Innovate UK.
There are discussions. I mean, sort of like the university's connection, because they have a film department, and or they teach in that. So there is this interesting kind of education meets industry kind of element to it, and then we've even got the football club involved, actually supporting doing tech innovation hubs. They've employed the first head of AI to any UK football club.
Right. I'd also encourage you to check out what incubator hubs and accelerators are run by the banks in that area. So I think NatWest have got one. Barclays Eagles Lab is another. There might be some connections to be made there. I don't know if they have a Reading base. I would guess they do, because I know there's one here in Birmingham. So Reading, Birmingham, pretty similar size cities.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll reach out to Sue and I'll see what can happen. It's not my area, but I'm obviously interested, and I try and connect with people. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Neil. Going forward in the new year, I've got a great contact at Barclays Business Lab. So if you want that, let me know.
Brilliant. That'd be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Neil. Warren, that has been fantastic this morning.
My pleasure, Ollie.
Wonderful having you on. We've realised an ambition of ours this morning, having you on and having you talk. It's been very, very good. So a lot of you're going to get a lot of love and big ups and respect in the next few days on LinkedIn. Thanking you for this, and you're welcome back. You're welcome back anytime. I know there's going to be some changes in the new year, but we certainly want to keep the relationship with British Business Bank going. And when you speak to your colleagues, tell them that there's a open door policy here. So
fantastic.
It's been wonderful. All right.
Thank you for the opportunity, Ollie.
Have a great